All right, what's up, y'all? Today it's exciting because we're gonna actually build something um, cool, I guess. Yeah, something real that you can like share your send your text to your friend, and it actually shows something at least kind of interesting. Um, and we're gonna do it all today. It's gonna be like a little bit longer, maybe like at max a few minutes. And you're gonna be able to build something like this. Hopefully, like your first real website that you've ever built, which um, should be a pretty cool feeling. Because I promise, uh, just follow along with this, give it a shot, and you can build this cool digital business card that we got going on. Okay, so to get started with this, all you need to do is download this app called Visual Studio Code, which I talked about in my last video. Um, obviously, it's free, and it basically just lets you write what's called HTML. And so this is the final code, but we're going to start off with where we left off last time. Um, okay, so where we left off last time was just by writing a little bit of HTML and a little bit of CSS. And basically, with the combination of those, is you being able to write um, or code websites essentially with the structure of HTML and the styling of CSS. And it may look a little intimidating if it's your first time seeing it, but I promise if you just look a little closer, you'll see it's basically just like as if you're writing in Google Docs, and you had your header, and you're gonna highlight it and make it bold, and then it's gonna stay bold, and you're formatting in the same way. You have this thing on top, and this text right here, this paragraph right here, and then maybe this paragraph is italicized. It's really similar, and so here you can organize it, basically all of your text in a similar way. All right, great. So let's delete this sort of old random code from last time, and then we're going to start off here. And so this is really just basic boilerplate. It's not even really necessary, but it's sort of good form to include something like this with basically just defining what language your web page is going to be in, and that's about it. So let me open up the file that we're working in right now. Index copy. Great. So obviously it's blank because, well, there's nothing there. So we're just going to write hi to make sure it's working. Great. All right. So it's working. Now, where do we start with something like this? And that's a great question. So typically, as we're going to start here and try to work our way towards it. So why don't we start just with this box in the middle here. So when you're writing websites, you're kind of structuring things based off of blocks. Like you can kind of see that this is a big block here. This is a little block here, and then we have three of them. So block, block, block. And then we have this sidebar or just block on the left. So that's kind of how you would section things off. So why don't you just type along a little Bob Ross action. Here we go. So we have ones, you can name them kind of whatever you want. But div, as you'll see as you write more code, is kind of the most used. All right, so we're going to give things called classes to each of these tags. And a class, as you'll see when we start writing CSS, is basically just some way to identify what is what. Because when we write the CSS, we're going to say things with glass should be styled this way. So we don't have to individually define styling for every tag, because that would get just kind of annoying. Okay, so we're on another div in here, and so there's no content. Like if we one second. Okay, so this is the user, and then we have another div and an image. So that is sort of our first interesting component here. Great. So before this image, there's really no content. We're just specifying blocks and styling that we haven't implemented yet. We're not actually writing any text like that. So why don't we go back and see, like, just by adding divs, you're not adding necessarily content because we haven't styled them. And the only content we've put in or text we've put in is, this random. So what happens if we add a little image? Great. There we go. We have the image. And so now, under this image, I want to start working on this sidebar. So for text, you have all of these options, and it doesn't matter what you pick. You could pick any of them. And if it's not making sense, like, that's totally okay. You'll start to pick up on the patterns the more you sort of see this sort of stuff get written out. Because what's the difference between an H3 and a P? It's kind of unclear, but I mean, it doesn't matter necessarily, especially if this is one of the first things you're doing. Okay, welcome to my business card. Great, so now we have some more text here, and that's looking fantastic. So under those, now we want to start building on the right side of the business card. And so remember, we were looking, so we have like this sort of title, contact me, and then we have these three little buttons or blocks that I was talking about. So, let's just start with another div, because these are all inside of one block on their own. And I'll call this class. Oopsie. Okay, so inside the status, then this is where we're going to put the title of contact me. Great. So under, I don't know if you're sort of picking up on this, but it is sort of formatted like vertically or horizontally. So obviously the sidebar and the contact me, those are two things formatted horizontally. And then within here, everything is formatted vertically. And so that is determined by the styling, which we will get to later, but maybe you're starting to pick up on basically how these things relate to each other in the HTML. So I want this class to be called cards, because we're defining like this right side, those cards over there. And then we're gonna do an A tag, which is a nice one, and I'll get to that in a second. And so now we're doing the actual individual card, card info. So, I mean, I really hope this isn't boring. The idea is that you do a little Bob Ross action and you could follow along with this. Yeah. Hopefully you're learning or just enjoying building your very own website. So let's check in on what we're doing. Great. Okay. So without any styling, you can see this is ugly, and it's not looking anything like this. So in my opinion, styling is what really makes a website look cool. Um, but we do need to format the content in a way that we can style it, and that it will work. Okay, so an A tag is a link. Like if you want to just be able to click, like you've obviously interacting with the internet, you've clicked on something and it's taking you to another website. That is all of those are just simply A tags. Every single one of them. So I can make this go to Instagram.com, even my Instagram, but I'm not gonna do that, cause yeah. Okay, sweet. So obviously it doesn't look good because we haven't styled it, but you can see in the bottom left there, it says Instagram.com. So it's like literally any link you've seen on the internet is because of you've wrapped it in an A tag and told it what link to go to. Okay, so amazing. Now we have a bunch of A tags, but we wanted 3 of them, right? So these are links too. If you look at the bottom left, every time I hover, it's going to a different link. So that tells you that it's wrapped in an A tag, which should make sense because here we have this A tag. And so now I want 3 of them. So I'm just going to copy and paste 3 of them and then kind of just change the content. So my next one, I wanted it to go to Twitter. Yeah, I can go to my Twitter account, I guess. And then this one can go to my startup. Well, okay. I don't know. Like, obviously the content can be whatever you want, and I hope that you're customizing it to actually be a nice business card that you could have, or like link this on your LinkedIn. That would be kind of cool, especially if you're not like in a coding role, but you kind of built your own website. That's very cool. Obviously, and it's free, so it's not like you're using like Squarespace something to make your own portfolio website. So I encourage you to take this business card idea and make something that you can actually show people with. Okay, cool. Tollbit, and then we have Twitter. Yeah, okay, I don't know. Put whatever you want in there. Okay, so now we really have a lot of just, I know it doesn't look like a lot, but if you compare this to the text that's on here, that's all it is, right? Every piece of text that's in here is here. And so what transforms this into this is just simply styling. And that's why we've defined all of these classes. Because now we can go and we can make our own CSS file. And let's call it looks.css. Right now it's oopsie daisy. Okay, and so we have to tell the computer or whoever to look at this CSS file that we're defining. We want to say you should go into this file and then look at the code we're defining here and bring it in and use that to style the website. And writing CSS can be fun for some people. It's not really fun for me, but I'll give you a bit of a primer on it, and then I'm just going to put it in the description, and then you should copy and paste. Because I really don't think there's a way to teach writing CSS. I mean, most people don't even really care about it, unless you are writing websites a lot, and then you eventually just learn to start to memorize as if it's its own language, what things mean, and then it can become kind of fun because you're kind of just writing things. Okay, so this star means it's applying to everything on the website. It's like global. Like these rules, CSS is just rules. These rules for how things look should apply to everything on my website. And then these map to tags. So these, like we said, are called tags. A div tag, and we have I don't think we have an H1, but we have an H. Oh no, we do. So this is an H1. Yeah, why would we be styling an H1 unless we? Okay, my bad. Yeah, so we're telling the H1 I want you to be this color, and then we're gonna just tell H2s I want you to be this color, this font weight, which I mean, if you think about Google Docs, is just like being bold or not. And we want you to be this opacity and this font size. Or when you click the plus button and it gets bigger. And then if I want to style, so the reason I've been giving these class things is because I want to just define a name so that in my CSS file, I can actually give it some rules. So for a tag, you do H2, but then if it's a class, you just put a dot in front of it. That's the only difference, and that's why the colors are different. Okay, great. So what happens if we did that? Okay, so we got a little bit of styling done. So just with these little rules, it changes the format of the page a lot. And so, like I said, writing CSS can get really just pointless, especially if it's your first rodeo. I don't really recommend it. I mean, just get in there, edit some things before you try and just write a whole CSS file all in one. It's probably way more helpful if you just go into this code that I'll put in the description. Go in and change the color, go in and change the font weight, see what happens, and boom, look at that, just like a brand new website, just like that, just by putting in the styling, and it's 99% of the way there. The one big difference here is the font, which I don't really feel like is worth going into in this video, but obviously every website is not the same font, so how do you change the font of a website, which is not too hard of a problem, which is another thing you can do. Add some emojis like I did, and yeah, I mean, there we go. That's the website. Now let's put it on Netlify. So I'm going to open my folder up. Oh, God. Okay. Okay, so now we have two, because I made a copy of one I did before. So here we go. Log in. Alright, I promise this was a short video. I hope it's still short. I'm going to add a new site, just deploy it manually. And let's see what happens if we do this. Oh yeah, all right. So there we go. That is the tutorial. Now I have my very own digital business card. I hope you now have your very own digital business card. That's what it takes to build a website and put it on the internet. I could copy this link and text it to my friends right now, and they could check it out. I could put this on my LinkedIn. I could buy a domain for it and make it look nice, joshmayer.com, and share it around. That's all it takes to build a website. A website that looks pretty cool too, and actually functions. It does something it has a place on the internet. So I hope that is cool, and I don't know, build some curiosity into where we're going, because this is just really just scratching the surface of not just websites, but what it means to code something that does something, and you can put it out there and do something for other people. Yeah, so hopefully that was worth following along, and I don't know, Um, have a nice rest of fucking day. I don't know. Sweet. See ya.